Deep beneath the crushing weight of 2 miles of solid Antarctic ice, there is a world that has been cut off from the rest of the planet for over 15 million years. This is Lake Vostok, a subterranean ocean trapped in total darkness, under immense pressure, and far away from the reach of the sun. For decades, scientists have theorized that this liquid abyss might hold the secrets of ancient life, but everything changed just a few days ago. While monitors were scanning the thermal signatures of the lake's deepest basin, they detected a massive heat-emitting anomaly that shouldn't be there. And then, as the sensors recorded the data in real time, the anomaly did the one thing no one ever expected. It moved. We aren't talking about a shift in the current or a piece of sediment falling from the ceiling. We are talking about a coordinated biological movement from a mass that is larger than a blue whale. Antarctica's deepest secret is no longer a mystery of chemistry or geology. It is a mystery of biology. Something is alive down there, it is active, and it just woke up. Today we are diving into the data to explore what scientists are calling the most significant biological discovery in human history, and why this hidden resident of the ice might change our understanding of life in the universe forever. To understand how something massive can survive in a place like Lake Vostok, you have to realize just how alien this environment really is. Imagine a body of water the size of Lake Ontario, buried so deep under the ice sheet that the pressure is over 300 times what we feel at sea level. The water stays liquid only because of the intense pressure and the geothermal heat rising from the Earth's crust below. It is a place of total, absolute darkness. There is no photosynthesis here, no plants, no sunlight, no oxygen from the atmosphere. For years, the scientific consensus was that Lake Vostok might host some hardy bacteria, or maybe some strange microbial colonies living off minerals. The idea of a large, complex, and moving organism was considered impossible. That is, until the latest generation of neutrino-sensitive sonar probes was lowered into the borehole. The discovery started when a team of international researchers noticed a strange pattern in the lake's thermal grid. Usually the temperature of the water is incredibly stable, fluctuating by only fractions of a degree. But in a specific trench nearly 500 miles from the Russian Vostok station, a massive heat spike appeared. It was localized, concentrated, and radiating a signature that looked suspiciously like a metabolism. The scientists initially thought it was a hydrothermal vent, a gateway to the volcanic heat below. They focused their sensors on the area, hoping to catch a glimpse of a geyser. But instead of a steady flow of hot water, they saw the heat source detach itself from the lake floor. It drifted upward, performed a slow, circular maneuver, and then descended back into the darkness. It was a clear, unmistakable sign of propulsion. What could possibly be that large and alive in a lake covered by miles of ice? This is where the recent scientific discoveries get truly fascinating. The researchers believe we are looking at a form of chemogigantism. On the surface of the Earth, animals are limited in size by the amount of oxygen and food available in their ecosystem. But in the ultra-pressurized, mineral-rich soup of Lake Vostok, the rules are different. The water is supersaturated with oxygen that has been forced out of the melting ice above over millions of years. This creates an environment where cells can potentially grow much larger and more efficiently than they do in the open ocean. If an organism evolved to harvest the raw chemical energy of the geothermal vents, there is theoretically no limit to how big it could get. We are looking at a prehistoric leviathan that has been refining its biology in a pressurized laboratory for eons. The sensors also picked up something else, something that sent chills through the research team: subsonic vibrations. As the anomaly moved, it emitted a series of low-frequency pulses that traveled through the liquid and vibrated the ice shelf above. These aren't random noises. They have a rhythmic, almost linguistic structure. Scientists are now analyzing these icequakes to see if they are a form of echolocation or even communication. If this creature is using sound to navigate the dark, it means it has a highly developed nervous system and a sophisticated way of perceiving its environment. It isn't just a mindless mass of cells. It is a sentient inhabitant of the deep. Let's look at the supermarket secrets of infrastructure that allowed such a discovery to happen. Just like how a modern grocery store relies on a hidden network of logistics, cooling systems, and sensors to keep everything fresh and organized, the mission at Lake Vostok relies on the most advanced technology ever deployed on Earth. They are using a sterile thermal drill which uses high-frequency vibrations and heat to melt through the ice, without introducing a single bacterium from the surface. They have to be incredibly careful, because Lake Vostok is considered a primal environment. If we contaminate it with modern germs, we could destroy the very life we are trying to study. The probes themselves are made of specialized polymers that don't react with the lake's unique chemistry. Every piece of data we get is a victory for engineering. But why did it move now? For 15 million years, Lake Vostok has been silent. One theory is that our very presence, specifically the vibrations from our drilling and the faint electromagnetic field of our probes, has acted as a wake-up call. These creatures have lived in a world of total silence for millions of generations. To them, the tiny hum of a human probe might be as loud as a jet engine. We may have inadvertently disturbed a slumber that predates human civilization. There is a sense of urgency in the scientific community now. We aren't just observing a lake anymore. We are interacting with an inhabitant. The biological implications of this are staggering. If life can reach this level of complexity in the subglacial lakes of Antarctica, it changes the way we look at planets like Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's Enceladus. We used to think that without a star to provide energy, life would stay small and simple. But Lake Vostok is proving that a planet's internal heat is more than enough to foster giants. This discovery suggests that the most common form of intelligent life in the universe might not be living on the surface of green planets, but deep inside the icy shells of frozen moons. We have found an alien world right here on Earth. The sensors have also mapped the internal infrastructure of the lake. It turns out Lake Vostok isn't just a big puddle. It is a complex system of tunnels, underwater canyons, and brine pools where the salt concentration is so high that the water becomes as thick as syrup. The moving anomaly seems to navigate these brine pools with ease, using them perhaps as highways to move quickly across the lake. This suggests a level of environmental mastery that we usually associate with highly evolved predators or migratory species. The creature knows the geography of its dark world perfectly. Wait until you hear about the impossible chemistry results. When the probe sampled the water near the moving mass, they found complex organic molecules that don't match anything in the global DNA database. It's as if the life in Lake Vostok followed a completely different evolutionary path. Some of the proteins found are chiral reverse, meaning they are mirrored versions of the proteins found in every other living thing on the surface. This would indicate that the life in the lake didn't just survive the ice age. It might have originated from a separate biological event entirely. We are looking at a shadow biosphere, a branch of the tree of life that we didn't even know existed. Naturally, a discovery of this magnitude has ignited a firestorm of debate. Some researchers are calling for a permanent observatory to be built deep within the ice, a subglacial station that could monitor the lake 24 hours a day. Others are terrified of what happens if we accidentally breach the seal of the lake. The high pressure keeps the water contained, but if we aren't careful, the lake could literally explode upward through the borehole, potentially releasing ancient microorganisms into the atmosphere. It is a high-stakes game of scientific chess. As you look at the sonar maps being pulled from the deep, you see signs of atmospheric engineering. It appears the creature, or creatures, are actively manipulating the oxygen levels in certain parts of the lake. They seem to be farming the bacteria that live on the hydrothermal vents, creating concentrated zones of nutrients. This is not just survival. This is a civilization of a different sort, a biological empire that has existed in the dark, away from the wars and catastrophes of the surface world. They are the true elders of the Earth. The project has also uncovered a strange connection between Lake Vostok and the Earth's magnetic field. It appears that the mineral-rich water of the lake acts as a giant conductor, and the moving organism might be using the Earth's magnetic lines to navigate, much like a compass. Every time the Earth's magnetic poles flicker or shift, the inhabitants of the lake react. They are perfectly tuned to the planet's heartbeat. But there is a mystery that has the researchers even more stunned. The latest images show that the anomaly isn't alone. There are smaller satellite masses that move in coordination with the larger one. It looks like a pod of whales or a school of massive fish. This implies social behavior. It implies a family structure or a collective. We aren't just looking at a monster in the ice. We are looking at a community. The idea that there is a social, intelligent species living miles under the ice is almost too much for the human mind to grasp. For followers of recent scientific discoveries, the most fascinating part is the energy source. We've found that the hydrothermal vents at the bottom of Lake Vostok are richer in rare metals and isotopes than almost anywhere else on the planet. These vents provide a chemical battery that the organisms plug into. They have evolved biological organs that can sit directly in the heat of the vent and absorb energy through a process that looks like a mix of thermophoresis and chemosynthesis. They have bypassed the need for digestion as we know it. They are living batteries, fueled by the core of the Earth itself. The project has also discovered ice flowers in the upper reaches of the lake. These are massive crystalline structures that grow from the ceiling of the lake, formed by the unique interaction between the lake water and the ancient ice. These flowers are coated in bioluminescent algae that glows with a faint green light. So even in the total darkness of the deep ice, there are pockets of light. This bioluminescence allows the larger creatures to see, or at least to recognize each other. It must be a beautiful, haunting world, a crystal cathedral of light and ice, miles below the surface. Why was this hidden for so long? The answer is the ice shield. The Antarctic ice sheet is the perfect insulator. It blocks all radio waves, all light, and almost all seismic energy. It is the Earth's safe room. For millions of years, Lake Vostok has been the most private place on the planet. We only found it because we started looking for things we didn't think could exist. It proves that the map of our world is still mostly blank once you move away from the surface. The team at the research station is now working with experts in acoustic linguistics. They are trying to talk back. They have developed a subsonic transducer that can send pings back into the lake. They aren't trying to send complex messages yet. They are just trying to send a signal that says, "We see you." The response from the deep was a single, massive pulse that shook the drill head. It was a clear acknowledgement. The first contact with a subglacial species has happened, and it wasn't with an alien for another star, but with an earthling from the deep ice. The biological samples that have been retrieved from the borehole's ice cores show that the creatures have an incredible ability to repair their own DNA. Because they live in a high-pressure environment, their cells are constantly being squeezed. They have developed molecular scaffolding that keeps their proteins from unfolding. This technology, if understood, could revolutionize the way we treat degenerative diseases on the surface. We are learning how to be unbreakable from the residents of Lake Vostok. But as the exploration continues, there are signs that the lake is changing. The geothermal activity is increasing, and the ice shelf above is thinning. This might be why the creatures are moving more aggressively. They might be sensing a change in their sky. To them, the ice is the roof of their universe. If that roof starts to melt or crack, their entire world is at risk. We might have found them just at the moment when they are most vulnerable. The supermarket secrets of their biology are also coming to light. They have a stockpile of energy-dense lipids that they store in specialized bladders. This allows them to survive for centuries without feeding if the hydrothermal vents go quiet. They are the ultimate survivalists. They have outlasted the mammoths, the saber-toothed tigers, and every major extinction event of the last 10 million years. They are a monument to the endurance of life. The world is about to wake up to a new reality. Antarctica is no longer just a continent of ice. It is a lid on a hidden ocean of wonders. The discovery of the moving mass in Lake Vostok is a reminder that we don't know the half of it. We are a surface-dwelling species that has only just begun to peek into the basement of our own home. What happens if we find more? There are hundreds of other subglacial lakes in Antarctica. Is Lake Vostok unique, or is the entire continent sitting on a massive, interconnected network of life? The data suggests there might be rivers under the ice that connect these lakes, allowing the inhabitants to migrate across the entire continent without ever coming up for air. We might be looking at a hidden continent under the ice, a second Africa or a second Asia, populated by creatures we can't even imagine. Subsonic pings are getting more frequent. The conversation is heating up. The researchers are now concerned that by interacting with the creatures, we might be changing their behavior in a way that could be harmful to them. There is a delicate balance in the dark. If we bring too much light, too much noise, or too much heat, we could ruin the very sanctuary that has kept them safe for 15 million years. But the drive for discovery is too strong. The world wants to see what is down there. There are plans to send a cryobot, a small autonomous submarine that can navigate the lake and send back live video. This will be the moon landing of the deep Earth. For the first time, we will see the face of the resident of Vostok. We will see the scales, the eyes, and the movements of a creature that has never seen a star. Think about the perspective of that creature. For millions of years, your world has been the lake. The ice is the sky, and the vents are the sun. And then a tiny metal star comes down from the roof. It's not just a scientific event. It's a theological one for the deep. We are the aliens from above to them. Our technology is as incomprehensible to them as their biology is to us. The discovery at Lake Vostok is a call to humility. It reminds us that we are not the only masters of this planet. There are worlds within worlds, and we are just the latest guests to arrive. The resident of the deep ice has been there much longer than we have, and it will probably be there long after we are gone. It is a win for curiosity, a win for science, and a wake-up call for our imagination. As the scientists in the cold Antarctic night monitor the latest movements of the mass in the deep, they are realizing that they have opened a door that can never be closed. The lake is hiding something alive, and it just moved. It moved because it is ready to be known. Ancient, massive, and incredibly patient, the inhabitant of Lake Vostok is finally stepping into the light of our sensors. The ice of Antarctica is no longer a void. It is a history book, a protection, and a gateway. And as we continue to listen to the subsonic pulses and look at the heat signatures, we are finally starting to understand the true scale of life on Earth. We are not alone. Not in the solar system, and not even on our own world. The deep lakes are alive, and they have stories to tell. The resident of Vostok is waiting. It moved, and in doing so, it reached out across 15 million years of isolation to touch the mind of a new species. It is the ultimate meeting of the old and the new. Stay curious. Stay respectful, and keep looking into the dark, because sometimes the darkness looks back, and it has much to teach us about what it means to be alive on this incredible, mysterious planet. The journey into Lake Vostok is just beginning, and the surprises are going to keep coming. We have confirmed the impossible. Now we just have to be brave enough to look it in the eye. Antarctica has given us a gift, a glimpse into a version of Earth that we thought was lost forever. It is a world where pressure is power, where darkness is home, and where heat is life. The moving anomaly of Lake Vostok is our new teacher. Let's hope we are good students. The deepest lake on Earth is no longer a mystery of water. It is a miracle of life, and it's just getting started. The mystery of the ice is melting away, and what is revealed is more beautiful and terrifying than we ever dreamed. This is the new frontier. This is the age of the subglacial discovery, and the resident of the deep ice is leading the way. Stay tuned, because the next movement in the lake might be the one that changes everything. Antarctica is alive, and it's finally ready to speak to us through the miles of ice and the silence of the deep. Let's listen. Let's learn. Let's protect. The future of Lake Vostok is the future of our understanding of life itself. The resident has moved. The move is yours now. Stay curious.